I will never lie to you. I promise you that.
No! All you'll do is teach me to make up stupid stories!
Welcome to MsMojo. And today, we're counting down our picks for the most notably fabricated or omitted details in the resolution of biographical films. So, even those who know how these movies end are in for spoilers.
You want to know? You have to hire me back. I got a ton of bills to pay.
Number 20, JFK.
So what really happened that day? Let's just for a moment speculate, shall we?
It wouldn't have served Oliver Stone's case to mention what happened to Jim Garrison after the events of the controversial conspiracy epic JFK. The district attorney's career was devastated by the acquittal of Clay Shaw, whom he accused of conspiring with government officials to assassinate President Kennedy. His subsequent perjury charge against Shaw was so petty that an injunction was issued.
Let it be noted that my office is charging Clay Shaw with outright perjury on the 15 answers he's given in this courtroom today, not one word of truth having escaped his lips.
You're out of order, Jim Boy. Now sit down.
Garrison failed to get reelected in '73 amid widespread scrutiny of his methods, and eventually became a judge. Still, he's best known for continuing to peddle conspiracy theories in the media. Even former colleagues suspected that this was Garrison's true objective, noting increasingly flimsy theories and grudges. With these questions of Garrison's integrity came further questions of JFK's credibility.
With one half of his mind, he is able to go out and fabricate evidence. Then by some osmosis, he is able to convince the other half that the fabrication is the truth.
Well, I wouldn't worry about it, Liz. There's only about 20, 30 million people watching this tonight.
Number 19. Amistad. Not much is certain about Joseph Sinkay past the ruling that his 1839 uprising on a slave ship was self-defense.
It is the court's judgment that the defendants are to be released from custody at once, and if they so choose, to be returned to their homes in Africa.
Amistad ending on his return to Sierra Leone may be either too optimistic or not triumphant enough. After losing his family in a civil war, Sinkay became a prominent figure who worked with missionaries.
Tigi huwa demawe. Tigi ili bi. Nyamuge. Be.
His descendants claim he helped Christianize the region. It's also widely believed that he became a successful merchant, with so many rumors suggesting that the slave survivor even sold his own people. It's likely that some of his fellow Amistad rebels took up this terrible practice after returning home. As for Sinkay himself, what little we do know about his life could produce another epic film.
Ibe Maungbe. To keep you safe.
Number 18. The Aviator.
Howard, unlock this door immediately.
I can't, sweetie.
You mean you won't?
With what The Aviator shows us, legendary entrepreneur Howard Hughes muttering to himself may say more than any epilogue could. It would have been that his mental health and expensive ambitions eventually led to him losing control of his empire by the 1970s. He then became so reclusive that Clifford Irving didn't count on being publicly called out for fabricating Hughes's autobiography. And despite his severe germophobia, Hughes allowed his health and hygiene to deteriorate to where he was unrecognizable upon his death from kidney failure in '76.
Mr. Hughes?
I don't have any shoes. Could you give me some shoes?
It was indeed more of the same, but knowing that Hughes spent the next 30 years never getting the help he needed makes The Aviator's ambiguous ending even more devastating.
The way of the future.
Let's take a walk, Howard.
The way of the future. No.
Give me a hand here, will you, Glenn?
The way of the future. 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 The way of the future.
Number 17. Remember the Titans. Disney would rather just remember the uplifting parts of the first T.C. Williams High School football team under Herman Boone. Remember the Titans downplayed his harsh coaching methods, which Greg Paspatis claims were more cruel than disciplinary.
We're going to take a little run through the woods. If you get lost along the way, don't bother coming back to camp. Just hitchhike your hind parts on home. Any questions?
Coach, it's a high school football team. We're not the Marines here.
Let's go.
Rumors of verbal and physical abuse resulted in Boone's firing in 1979, 8 years after the Titans' historic undefeated season. Even more upsetting is the truth about Coach Bill Yost's adorable little girl Cheryl.
I'm 9.5, thank you very much.
Why don't you get this little girl some pretty dolls or something, Coach? I tried. She loves football.
She died in 1996 of an undiagnosed heart condition at the age of 34. Coach Yost was also upset that his 3 other daughters didn't make the cut. But that just goes to show how Remember the Titans didn't want things too complicated for the audience.
There's always next year or year after that, as long as it takes for him to wise up.
Wouldn't want it now anyway. Bunch of rednecks.
Number 16. Hacksaw Ridge. World War II medic and Christian pacifist Desmond Doss saved around 75 lives from both sides in the Battle of Okinawa. Hacksaw Ridge ennobled the injuries he sustained as a seemingly minor cost for his heroism.
I never said I was attacked, Sarge.
Well, what the hell are you saying, Doss? You bruised half your body sleeping.
I sleep pretty hard.
In fact, permanent damage to Doss's left arm ended his carpentry career after the war, and treatment for tuberculosis he contracted during deployment cost him several ribs and one of his lungs. He even blamed his hearing loss on an overdose in antibiotic treatment.
What is it you want of me? I don't understand.
Doss's wife, Dorothy, worked as a nurse in order to supplement his meager pension. Though their good spirits through this hardship was further testament to Doss's strength, his spirit in the battlefield was surely more cinematic.
After what we just been through, any sane man would be screaming for a weapon.
Well, I never claimed to be sane.
Number 15. Ed Wood.
This is the one. This is the one I'll be remembered for.
It's not exactly a secret that the ending to Tim Burton's Ed Wood was overly optimistic. Plan 9 from Outer Space did indeed immortalize the earnest filmmaker behind the ultimate bad movie. At the time, however, it cemented Ed Wood's bleak artistic and financial reputation in Hollywood.
Hey, it's not that bad. You can't concentrate on the negative. Look, he's got some nice things to say here. The soldiers' costumes are very realistic. That's positive.
Rave of the century.
Well, I've seen a lot worse reviews. I've seen reviews where they didn't even mention the costumes.
His later filmography consisted entirely of exploitation and adult films. All the while, he and his wife Kathy struggled with alcohol, depression, and periodic homelessness. They were living in abject poverty by the time Wood died of a heart attack in 1978, 2 months after turning 54. His Oscar-winning biopic is a tribute to the legacy he leaves on cult cinema, but disregards the sad reality of laughing at someone's work.
I think we should all give a hand to the man without whom we wouldn't be here tonight. Eddie, take a bow.
Number 14. A Beautiful Mind. A brief hallucination ends A Beautiful Mind with a reminder of the constant challenges facing people with schizophrenia.
What's wrong?
Nothing at all.
It's still not as simple as John Nash walking away with his family. There was no triumphant speech when he accepted his Nobel Memorial Prize in 1994, as there was concern for pressure on his mental health. His beloved Alicia was present, but had not been his wife since 1963.
I think often what I feel is obligation or guilt over wanting to leave. Rage
against John, against God.
It took about 7 years for them to reconcile after the divorce, and another 31 years for them to remarry. Standing by a loved one with mental illness is harder than Hollywood implies. The fact remains that John and Alicia Nash supported each other throughout the rest of their lives.
How do you know?
I know because all the data indicates the symptoms.
But it hasn't been proven yet.
No.
You haven't seen it.
No.
How do you know for sure?
I don't, I just believe it.
It's the same with love, I guess.
Number 13, My Left Foot.
It looks good.
Looks can be deceiving.
It's hard not to be touched by artist Christy Brown and nurse Mary Carr falling in love at the end of My Left Foot. That is, unless you're familiar with their marriage.
I'm not afraid of anything. You imagine that people are afraid of you. I'm not afraid of you, okay?
You're afraid of yourself.
Brown's deteriorating health and an autopsy following his death in 1981 sparked theories that he was abused by his wife. Georgina Louise Hambleton's biography, published after the destitute Carr died in 2007, suggests that she neglected Brown, exploited his cerebral palsy, and was a sex worker. Brown's sister Anne even claimed that he confided in her a fear for his life. Whether the evidence was solid enough back when My Left Foot was made, it sours the film's inspiring legacy.
Oh, come on, look, just... Let's
You're
forget this,
afraid
okay?
of
We
me.
can't talk about this now. Look, I'm going.
Why can't we
Christy.
talk now? Now is a good enough time for me.
Number 12, Unbroken. From crashing in shark-infested waters to surviving a POW camp, Louis Zamperini overcame a lot in the Pacific War. But it was a bit early to declare him unbroken when his blockbuster biopic ended with his liberation. The 2018 independent sequel Unbroken: Path to Redemption picks up where that left off. Zamperini struggled with severe PTSD and alcohol use disorder, which nearly destroyed his marriage.
I'm taking Sissy, and I'm going to Florida.
Now, what are you gonna do? You gonna go home to your parents? What, and tell them how stupid you were to marry me?
I can't take care of her and a drunk at the same time.
So what are you saying?
I'm saying I want a divorce.
Only after becoming a born-again Christian was he able to get his life back on track. He even visited Sugamo Prison in Tokyo to forgive the war criminals who imprisoned and tortured him. Zamperini continued his athletic and evangelism work until he passed away, just before Unbroken came out, with just half the story.
He kept me alive. And through everything. For this.
Number 11, Conviction.
My brother Kenny, he got screwed by the system. He's been in prison for 12 years, life without parole. Whoa. He's innocent. Okay? Yeah, I'm gonna find a way to get him out.
Betty Ann Waters went all the way to law school to personally clear her brother Kenny of Katharina Brau's murder. The filmmakers behind Conviction didn't want to leave audiences with the knowledge that this victory 18 years in the making lasted only 6 months in 2001.
How could you possibly thank your sister for what she's done for you?
I don't know. How would you thank her? It's a good question. Betty Ann, you have any big cases lined up after this?
No. I never really planned on practicing law, so...
Kenny was walking home when he attempted to jump a fence for a shortcut, only to lose his footing and die in the fall. Despite this tragic twist of fate, Betty Ann takes comfort in her brother's brief but happy time as a free man and continues advocating for the wrongly convicted through the Innocence Project. 15 years after Conviction's release, Brau's real killer was identified.
Even if it had taken you another 20 years, I would have been okay.
Another 20 years? Jesus, I would have lost my mind.
Number 10, The Motorcycle Diaries. Based on the memoir of the same name, The Motorcycle Diaries concerns Ernesto Guevara's motorcycle trip across South America, in which he encounters various social and political injustices.
Esos ojos tenían una expresión oscura y trágica. Nos contaron de unos compañeros que habían desaparecido en circunstancias misteriosas y que al parecer terminaron en alguna parte en el fondo del mar. The journey shaped Guevara's outlook and turned him into a political revolutionary. By its nature as a coming-of-age film, The Motorcycle Diaries says little about Guevara's later life in the epilogue.
Creo que esta es una buena ocasión para que Ernesto y Alberto sepan lo agradecidos que estamos con ustedes.
He would come to be known as Che Guevara, a guerrilla leader who helped spearhead the Cuban Revolution of the 1950s. He later held several important positions within the new Cuban government, and his actions helped lead to the infamous Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962. He was eventually assassinated by Bolivian Army Sergeant Mario Terán, leaving behind a divisive legacy.
Mira, Mial, todo este tiempo que pasamos en la ruta, sucedió algo. Algo que tengo que pensar por mucho tiempo.
Number 9. Ray. Unlike many biopics, Ray ends in the middle of the story. The film spans from Ray Charles's childhood to 1979, when he overcame substance use disorder and received a formal apology from the state of Georgia.
We also offer Mr. Ray Charles a public apology and welcome him back home.
The epilogue then alludes to his other triumphs, not including his controversial 1981 show in South Africa or his career-reviving work with contemporary artists. It does, however, acknowledge his death shortly before the film's release. The events in between aren't really important to the story Ray was telling, but they're very telling about Charles's continued relevance in modern music.
What you say? Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more.
Number 8. Straight Outta Compton. While this film mostly remains true to the real story, a few events were fabricated near the end to make for a more emotional conclusion.
Rapper Eazy-E has died after a battle with AIDS.
He was among the most powerful voices of his generation.
For example, Eazy-E is left destitute from the collapse of NWA and the feud with Jerry Heller. According to publicist Phyllis Pollock and his own son, Eazy died a multimillionaire. And speaking of Eazy's death, the movie depicts him suffering a seizure and collapsing during the band's reunion, resulting in his HIV diagnosis.
Baby, you good?
Yeah. All right.
In reality, Eazy went to the hospital because of a persistent cough. And as for the brief reunion, Dre reportedly never committed to one before Eazy's passing in 1995.
So what you think, man? You think we could get together or what? What you think?
Yeah, man.
Number 7. Kinsey. This is a biopic of Alfred Kinsey, an academic sexologist who controversially studied sexual behavior.
You've had absolutely no response during that time.
It's like I'm dead down there.
We went to the doctor, and he said there's nothing wrong.
The movie ends on a bittersweet note, as Kinsey falls into drugs and suffers a heart attack while losing financial backing for his research.
My funding has been slashed, and my name has been dragged through the mud in every newspaper and magazine across this country.
However, he continues to enjoy a strong personal relationship with Clara McMillan. The movie ends without delving into the turbulent final years of Kinsey's life. Unfortunately, he was never able to recover from the intense controversy surrounding the 1953 publication Sexual Behavior in the Human Female.
After I read your book, I realized how many other women were in the same situation.
Both the drugs and the stress of his collapsing reputation quickly took their toll, and he passed away from a heart ailment in 1956, just 3 years after the publication of his contentious book. Number 6. The Greatest Showman. It's no secret that The Greatest Showman is a very sanitized version of P.T. Barnum's story. The feel-good ending that sees Barnum reuniting with Charity was completely made up for the movie, as they remained happily married until her death in 1873. And they remained happily married because the real Jenny Lind did not have a romantic attraction to Barnum, and therefore did not kiss him on stage.
Thank you.
Furthermore, playwright Philip Carlyle did not selfishly give Barnum his money to open a new circus, as Philip was completely made up for the movie.
Partners. 50-50.
Following Charity's death, Barnum married a woman 40 years younger than him, and he eventually died of a stroke in 1891. Number 5. The Imitation Game. The ending to The Imitation Game is a tragic one indeed. After helping to end World War II with his revolutionary computer, Alan Turing undergoes degrading treatment under the UK's anti-gay laws.
The medication?
Well, the judge gave me a choice, either 2 years in prison or hormonal therapy.
Oh my God.
This leaves him mentally devastated, and he takes his own life in 1954. However, this supposed fact has long been questioned. Turing reportedly had little problem with his hormone treatments, which greatly contrasts with his depressive state in the film.
The world is an infinitely better place. Precisely because you weren't.
Do you really think that?
Furthermore, Turing expert Jack Copeland posits that Turing accidentally died from inhaling potassium cyanide while melting gold. But even this thesis has its detractors, including biographer Andrew Hodges, who argues that Turing staged the scene as an accident to placate his mother. Unfortunately, the truth remains ambiguous. Number 4. The Social Network. The primary theme of The Social Network is loneliness.
You're gonna go through life thinking that girls don't like you because you're a nerd. And I want you to know from the bottom of my heart that that won't be true. It'll be because you're an asshole.
While Mark Zuckerberg creates the most popular social media site in the world, he simultaneously and ironically suffers from loneliness and isolation. In the end, he is seen repeatedly refreshing a friend request sent to his ex-girlfriend, desperate for any sort of human contact. This makes for a great and meaningful ending, but it's totally fabricated for storytelling purposes. The real Zuckerberg has been with his now wife Priscilla Chan since 2003. This was the same year that he created the rating site FaceMash, a crude precursor to the now iconic social media site.
Right or left? Left is left. Yeah. Right or left?
By the time Facebook went public in 2006, Zuckerberg and Chan had been happily dating for years. Number 3. Finding Neverland. A beautiful movie about family, Finding Neverland follows a relationship between author J.M. Barrie and the Davies boys.
George Llewellyn Davies shall test the very limits of the atmosphere using his tethered craft. Go on, boy.
Understandably, the movie ends before the tragic fates of the Davies boys could be revealed. The story concludes with the death of Sylvia Davies, which occurred in 1910.
I thought she'd always be here.
So did I. But in fact, she is.
5 years later, George was killed during World War I. In 1921, Michael drowned with his friend and possible lover, Rupert Buxton. Barrie believed it was a pact and called Michael's death the end of him. Jack died from a lung disease in 1959, and his younger brother Peter took his own life just 7 months later after his entire family was diagnosed with Huntington's disease. So much for childhood innocence.
Magic's gone out of it a bit now, hasn't it?
Number 2. Braveheart. A thrilling and epic piece of cinema, Braveheart is nevertheless a travesty of history. While quite a brutal film, it downplays the severity of William Wallace's grotesque demise. Wallace suffers a degree of pain and suffering before famously yelling, "Freedom!" And getting the axe. In reality, Wallace received a particularly hideous method of execution reserved for cases of high treason. Wallace was dragged naked through the streets of London before he was executed in Smithfield. We won't go into details, but suffice to say, it was significantly nastier than what is depicted in the film.
Pleasant, yes?
Despite its notoriously graphic violence, Braveheart wanted to at least grant Wallace some dignity in death.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. Erin Brockovich. Underdog stories don't get much more Hollywood than that of Erin Brockovich. Her legal victory against the Pacific Gas and Electric Company for contaminating Hinckley, California, launched a high-profile advocacy career.
As I was saying, I decided that the figure you proposed was inappropriate, so I increased it.
We all know about Brockovich's story after her biopic came out, but not many know about Hinckley's before. PG&E's $333 million settlement was insufficient for the more than 600 plaintiffs after the lawyers' usual 40% cut. Their options were limited because the case never went to trial.
Please, now the point we have to address tonight is getting everyone to agree that going binding arbitration is preferable to a trial that could go on for 10 years before you see any money. Maybe some of us want to wait 10 years.
Depopulation followed, and the small town's housing market collapsed as the whole world associated it with permanent environmental damage. Hinckley was essentially doomed from the beginning, but that's rarely the best way for a movie to end.
By the way, we had that water brought in special for you folks. Came from well in Hinckley.
What are some other biopics with more story to tell? Share your epilogue in the comments.